please, can you hear?
One day.
Beloved, I bring you greetings from the Inside Studios, and you are watching The Virtuous Woman. We were having a little bit issues with the sound, but I think now it's okay. So if you can hear me, please give me a sign for me to know you can hear me so we can continue. Yes, okay. As I said, this is live from the Inside Studios, and you are watching The Virtuous Woman, a program where we talk about anything feminine, anything woman. It can be all issues of life concerning career, health, marriage, parenting, etc. And it is with the scope that we will learn from our mistakes of the past and make better decisions for tomorrow and the future. Today we are talking about temperament and how it matters in parenting. Child's temperament and how it matters in parenting. And to help me do this is a great woman I have known, a great woman I've sat under her ministry. She is a teacher by profession. She is a minister of the word. She is the first lady of the Christ, Peace and Love Ministries International Toscana Assembly. One thing I know about her is that if you sit under her ministry and she teaches you or she is explaining a subject to you, you will understand to the core. So there will be no need for you to fail. And if you fail, no, voila. As I said, we are talking about temperament, child's temperament, and how it matters in parenting. I am talking about no other woman than our mommy, Grace Mamley Dazi. Mommy, you are very much welcome to The Virtuous Woman.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow. Thank you. Our mommy has good news also for us. She is launching her new book, and it is so much of a privilege for me to announce to you or to tell you a bit about her book, which is to be launched on the 31st of July 2021. 31st of July, which is this very month, 2021. The title of the book is Lessons from Eve. Lessons from Eve. You know Eve, our great-great-great-great-grandmother from the Garden of Eden. The first woman, the first wife, and the first mother on earth. And so we are learning from Eve. That is the lessons from Eve. It is going to happen at the Christ, Peace and Love Ministries International Brescia Assembly. And the time is going to be 4:00 p.m. And so, come in your numbers. Come, let's support our mommy. Also, come and grab your copy of her book. But in the meantime, for more information, you can contact these two numbers, and they are 329-871-7661. 329-871-7661. The second number is 338-328-0812. 338-328-0812. So if you need any information, you can contact these two numbers. Mommy, you are very much welcome again. As I said, we are talking about child's temperament and how it matters in parenting. Family, you are also welcome. It is much of a privilege that you make time with us always so that we can all learn to better our lives. Have you ever wondered why children of the same parent, as in mother and father, the same, they are raised in the same home, in the same environment, but can turn up incredibly different from each other? The question really is, are children really the same? Are their characters the same? And we parents also, Are we raising them the same way? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves when it comes to a child's temperament. Are they born with it? We want to learn more. And with our guest, with our mommy, I assure you that you would have to take your pen and your paper, because she will give us lots of nuggets that will help us in raising our children. Mommy, and so we say child's temperament and how it matters in parents. Can you please take us on?
Thank you so much, and God bless you
God
for
bless you too.
trying to advertise the book. It's such a privilege. I'm
Yeah.
humbled by your kindness and the love that I have received so far. God bless you, Inside Studios. God bless your family, the work you are doing for Him. And I know that this seed you are sowing one day will be a big forest. Generations after you will come and harvest from it in Jesus' name.
Amen.
And so I would like to thank God for the grace that He has bestowed on us to come again, to share His mind, to study, and then to equip ourselves and to show ourselves approved unto Him as well, even in our parenting. And so I want to thank my bishop, my papa, and his wife, Bishop Samuel Oscar-Mensah, the General Overseer of Christ Peace and Love Evangelistic Ministries International, with his wife, Mama Mary, wherever you are. We say God bless you. My husband is watching. Daddy, I love you. God bless you.
God bless you, Daddy.
For everything, I really appreciate you. And to all my children in the Lord, my brothers, my sisters, my family, my friends, my loved ones, my students, I say God richly bless you. It's such an honor to come your way one more time. Amen. So we are looking at the child's temperament and parenting. And as I was trying to study and prepare for this discussion, a question came across my mind, and I believe that the same question is on people's mind. Because when you talk of the child, the question is, who is a child? So I want us to take it from there. But somebody is having a 2-week-old baby, somebody has a 5-year-old, somebody has an 18-year-old. And so when we talk of a child and we are talking about parenting, somebody is wondering, are we going to talk about the baby? Are we going to talk about the toddler? Are we going to talk about the teenager? So we must define who a child is, first of all, so that we can really help ourselves to understand whom we are addressing in this very discussion. I believe you agree with me that starting from there is...
Of course, Mommy.
Yeah. All right, so who is a child? When we talk of a child, it is a young human being below the age of puberty. And let me quickly say that the topic we are discussing today is more of psychology. And so there are some terms and some, dictions, some words I may be using that some of us are familiar with. But really, we do not understand them. So I would like to take my time and break some of these terms down. So as a parent, as a child, we can understand where we stand even as we go into this discussion. So we are talking about a human being below the age of puberty, or below the legal age of majority. The legal age of majority in some countries is 16, in some countries is 18. So anybody below the age of 18, depending on the laws of your land, if an adult is 18, then if you are below 18, you are considered a child. Or if the laws of your land says that the child is below 16, and you are below 16, then you are considered a child. Now, I mentioned puberty, and so we will look at what puberty really is. Puberty is actually between the ages of 9 and 13. When you are beginning the adolescent years. So between 9 and 13 is what we call the puberty age. And then from the 13 up to 19 is what we normally call the teen age, because of the teens. So that is the teen age. So this is who a child is. That is one definition. Another definition is, I am 78 years old, but somebody gave birth to me. So long as I am somebody's daughter or I am somebody's son, I am a child. So if you can be 100 years old, but once somebody gave birth to you, they are your parents and you are their child.
Okay.
But I believe that for this discussion, we are looking at the first definition, a young human being below the age of puberty or below the legal age of majority. But I have another problem here. So somebody is asking, what about if my child is in the puberty or above? I have already said that so long as the person is under your roof and you are taking care of them, they are not on their own. They are considered a child and you are still parenting them. All right. So let's take it from infancy, because somebody is holding a newborn baby and the parent is confused. How do I even know whether this newborn baby has a temperament and how do I handle the baby? We are going to take it from there.
Yeah.
So infancy is from 0 to 2. 0 to 2 years, we consider that period as infancy. So if your child is born today, up to the time she's 2 years old, she's an infant. And then we are also looking at the toddler. Somebody is also parenting a toddler. The toddler is between 2 to 3 years. That is the toddler. Then we have the childhood, which is between 4 to 8 years. If you're handling a child between 4 to 8 years, they are in their childhood period. That is both the early childhood and the middle childhood. Then we come to puberty, which is 9 to 13 years. And so with this foundation, wherever your child falls, I believe that the discussion is going to benefit you. Now, I say that children are little people. The reason I am stressing this before we go into the temperament is that sometimes we think that they are children, the word children, or sometimes we use the word kids for them. And because of our personal perceptions and understanding of the concept of a child, we tend to neglect them in so many ways. But if you define a child as a little person, you would appreciate everything they do. You will be interested in whatever they are telling you. You will try to be in their world as well, because they are also people, just that they are little.
Yeah, little.
So what you have in your home now is not just a child; it's a little person. She's a little woman. He's a little man. God has entrusted to you the future first lady. You don't know. God has given you an executive and entrusted that executive to your hand, and you are grooming them to become what God has destined them to be. So they are little people. And before they were born, they were made. Before every child is born, for you to hold them physically, they have already been made. And unfortunately, you and I don't have control over how they are made. When you read Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, of course I cannot discuss this without bringing in the spiritual aspect. Because before psychology, God was. So we have to take it from there. He told Jeremiah, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. I called you by name, and I sent you a prophet over the nations. So before the mother even realized she was pregnant, Jeremiah had been formed in the realm of the spirit. And his case is not different from our children. Before a mother realizes that she's pregnant and she's carrying a fetus in her womb, that fetus in the realm of the spirit has already been made. Okay, so her destiny has been defined. And if you have this understanding as a parent, a father or a mother to be, you will start working on yourself, working on your environment before the physical manifestation of this human being. When you look into scripture, there are some children that God gives specific instructions to their parents. The reason I am taking it from here is that temperament is something nobody can control.
Wow.
Temperament of a person is in the hands of God.
So, mommy, does it mean that we are born with it? Are we born?
We are born with our temperament. Every human being is born with their temperament. So the parents, medicine, whatever, has no control. Science have no control over a person's temperament.
So, Mommy, if you say we have no control over it, does it mean that if it is bad, we just have to leave it the way it is and we cannot shape it from being bad to the right one?
All right, I will go into the definition of what temperament is quite, briefly.
Okay.
But before we go there, let me answer your question. If I say you have no control over the temperament of a person or of your own child, what it means is that if God has given him this temperament, and I'll be going to list the temperaments so far that we have. If God has made him maybe a choleric, you cannot change him to become a melancholic. That's what it really means. But in every temperament, there are strengths and there are weaknesses. So when you are able to identify the temperament of your child, then the weaknesses that the child begins to exhibit, because of your knowledge of how to handle probably a choleric, you'll be able to help them overcome those weaknesses. But they will still be a choleric. You cannot change their temperament. That's what it means by you don't have control. Temperament. Exactly. When you look at John the Baptist, for example, Samuel the prophet, Samson, these were children before they were born. God had given clear instructions to their parents. And because the parents had full knowledge of the assignment of God upon the lives of these children, they were well equipped before the children came into their lives. What am I saying? Before you become a parent, you must be a parent.
Before you become a parent, you must be a parent.
Thank you. You see how we rush for marriage counseling when we are preparing to marry? Ask yourself, how many of us prepare for parenthood before we become parents? So what happens is that we are not really prepared. We do not have the knowledge that is needed to handle the children. And so we do the best we know. But most times, because of the lack of knowledge, it doesn't really help with the parenting of the children. And so if God in his wisdom gave full knowledge about certain children in scripture to their parents, so that when they come, they will be able to manage them and handle them to fulfill destiny, it behoves us in this generation as fathers and mothers as well to also have some knowledge about the children that God has given into us, into our life, so we will know how to handle child A, child B, child C, without creating conflict between you and the child, and then even with the child's other siblings. That is why I believe this topic is so important that we look at it. So medically, when you are pregnant, the doctor will tell you, stay off alcohol, stay off drugs, don't do things that will stress you out. Make sure your environment is very conducive. Avoid excessive noise and very, stressful environment because they know that it can affect the child in your womb. So what it also means is that as parents, we must be very careful the things we say. The doctor will not tell you what to say when you are pregnant. But it really affects your child. The conversations and everything you have while you are pregnant have a great impact on your child. The emotions you go through while you are pregnant have a great impact on your child. It doesn't really define their temperament because I was angry. When my child comes, I'm going to be an angry child, but it can affect the child. So quickly, let us look at what temperament is. What is temperament? The word temperament comes from the Latin word temperare. Temperare. And it means to mix.
Okay.
What are we mixing? Ancient Egyptian medicine, those who studied into these areas of human beings, they came out with some research, and based on that ancient studies they did, they said that in the human body, there are four types of fluids, four main types of fluids. We have the blood, which when you cut yourself, you see it coming out. We have the black bile, you have the yellow bile, and then you have phlegm. And so based on these 4 bodily fluids, they realize that some of the behaviors of human beings is as a result of how these bodily fluids combined in their makeup when they were in the womb. Okay. And so the way the bodily fluids combine will determine your temperament. That's it.
Wow.
That is the research of the ancient Egyptian psychologists who delved into temperament. For them, of pattern. So somebody can be very aggressive in character. They are not a bad person. That is actually their temperament. Somebody can be very calm. That is their temperament. So for them, this is what they felt should define a person's temperament. But let me quickly define it. Temperament is the consistent, please note the word, consistent, individual differences in behavior that are biologically based and are independent of learning, systems of values, and attitudes. Temperament is a consistent individual difference in behavior that are biologically based. So you don't have control over it. That is what it means by biologically based. And you see the person repeating that behavior over and over and over, consistent. And it is an individual thing. How I will behave will be different from how Mr. Susikeli will behave. So it is individual difference. And you do not get it because you learned it. It is independent of learning. We don't learn our temperament. You don't go to school to become a melancholic, a choleric, or a phlegmatic, no. And it is also independent of the systems of values. I'm a gun, so that is why I'm melancholy, no. I'm an elder, that is why I am choleric, no. And then it is also has got nothing to do with attitude. My mother used to beat my father, that is why I'm aggressive, no. It is not that which defines your temperament. Although all these things can come in to define your personality somehow, your temperament basically is devoid of learning, values, and attitudes. It is biological, purely natural.
So, Mommy, when sometimes we hear normally, or they send mommy and or they send papa, those things they are not relevant in temperament.
They are. For example, your father may be a choleric and you are a phlegmatic, but you speak like your father, you smile like your father. So you have some traces of your father in you because of genetics.
Genetics, okay.
Exactly, because of the DNA, definitely your skin color, your eyes, you know, some things about you inherited from your parents. But for temperament, you can't say my father is a melancholy, so automatically I'm also a melancholy. No, everybody's temperament is different. Yes. All right. So let's look at the 4 main temperaments before we come to the child and then the parenting. When we take the 4 main temperaments in adults, let me repeat, because when your child is from 0 to 2, which is the infancy age, you may not really be able to define their temperament.
Sure.
So you from 0 to 5 years, you are not really sure whether your child is a choleric, a melancholic, a sanguine, or a phlegmatic. But from 5 years onwards, they begin to take shape in their personality that they are growing with. So these are the 4 personalities or temperament types that every child will eventually grow into. Number 1 is the melancholic. The melancholic is linked to the natural element earth, the earth that we know. That is how they establish that melancholic is linked to the earth. And if you are melancholic, you are very conscientious. Melancholics are very careful with everything they do. They take extra care. They pay attention to details. They don't want anything to be around them that is not at the right place. They are perfectionists, let's put it that way. So that is a melancholy for you. And these people are very detailed in everything they do. So as I am speaking, try and picture your husband, try and picture your wife. Just as I am mentioning some of them, you know where they fall. And then we have the phlegmatics. It comes from the fluid phlegmatic, and they are related to water, the element of water. They are very supportive, they are very steady, they have a very calm disposition. You know, they are the people that you describe as These are the phlegmatic people. And usually they are very quiet and they have a gloomy disposition. If you are with them and you are not careful, you might think that they are always sad. That is how they are. Somebody's hand is melancholy, actually. So as I mentioned some of them, you try and find where you are. And then we have the sanguine, air. Sanguine is related to air. You know, air is everywhere. And that is how the sanguines are. My sister is a sanguine. They are everywhere. When they enter into a place, you will know that they have come. They make friends easily. They are very great marketers. They influence people. They are very sociable. They are easygoing. They are people that you can easily relate to. That is the sanguine for you. They are inspiring. They like to talk a lot. All these things that I mentioned are the positive parts, because I don't want us to dwell on the negative. Don't on the negative, because I want us to really focus on it. Yes. So these are the sanguines. And then we have the cholerics. The cholerics are fire. They are very charismatic. If they say we're going to do this, they will put pressure on you.
Hey, I think I know somebody like that.
They are result-oriented. They want to get it done and fast. And cholerics are very good leaders because of that dominance in them. Wherever they are, they want to dominate. So if you see somebody like that, there is nothing wrong with them. These things that we are saying should let you know how to relate with every human being, your child included, because that is their temperament. When you understand the person, you know how to live with them. Even in your marriage, you will not be fighting so much, because you know that, okay, my husband is maybe phlegmatic, choleric. I am melancholic, choleric. My husband is phlegmatic, choleric.
I was about to ask that, is it possible that you can be two? You can be that and you can be that. Okay.
Usually, all of us have a combination. You don't have a pure, personality type. You can be very strong choleric with some amount of phlegmatic. So you need to know what your temperament is. But when you study yourself and you study the temperament, you know that, okay, I am more of melancholy with a bit of choleric. That is me. I am more melancholic and a bit of choleric. My husband is more phlegmatic and a bit of choleric. So you need to know your children as well, especially those above the age of 5. Because from the age of 5, their personality is quite defined. Yes.
So, Mommy, when we tend to differentiate or to explain these types of temperaments, how then do we classify being introvert and extrovert?
Yeah. So cholerics are extroverts. Cholerics and sanguines, they are really, really extroverts. And then phlegmatics and melancholics are introverts. Yes. But you can get a choleric who is also somehow an introvert. So it's not a one-way thing that you can quickly put somebody in a fixed box like that. We are a combination of a bit of, that is what makes God wonderful. And that is what makes individuals so unique. I always tell people that no matter how identical twins are, they are so very unique. You will definitely get something about this one that one doesn't do. That is God for you. Just like your fingerprints, you are unique. So yes, you can get some general characteristics, but you have individual characteristics that define the uniqueness of the person.
Wow. Wow.
So let's go to child's temperament because that is why we are here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but before we go to the child's temperament, let me say that when you are born into a family, you carry your natural temperament. God has given it to you. But as you are growing, your individual family, the family that you grew into, can have effect on who you become, the personality you develop into in future. So parents should be very careful. The family that the child is coming into may influence their personality as they grow. The culture of the parents may influence the personality of the child. The experiences of the parents may influence the personality of the child. And that is why it is important to seek knowledge, because you said, growing up, my father had 5 wives, and they were always fighting. There was aggression all around me. And so I grew up becoming an aggressive person. By the grace of God, I have married and I have my own home with my 1 wife, 1 husband. Now I'm going to bring forth a child. If I am able to understand my experience and how it can impact my child if I don't modify my behavior, although this child is not growing in that same environment, the aggression I am still exhibiting might impact the way my child turns out. And so if I have the knowledge, I will try to deal with myself before I handle this child that God has given to me. And so we need to be very careful there as well as parents as we handle our children. Now, when it comes to children and temperaments, because their temperaments are not easily defined until the age of 5 onwards, they have been grouped into 3 categories. So when it comes to child's temperament, we don't have the child being a melancholy, a phlegmatic. We have an easy child, we have a difficult child, and we have a slow to warm up child. And so if you have an easy child, the word easy should let you know what lesson God has given to you. And the difficult child is also a blessing from God. An easy child is that child, when you want to feed it, it is ready to eat. When you want it to have enough, it is ready to sleep. When you want to change their pampers, they are comfortable. When you want to give them a bath, they are okay. And so you can follow a routine for an easy child, and it will work perfectly for you. The child that will allow you to prepare your shito and your jollof rice and your groundnut soup, and she will not even cry. She'll be sleeping. She'll be following the normal routine. Averagely, a normal baby should have at least 4 hours sleep, 1 hour awake, 4 hours sleep, 1 hour awake. That is how it is supposed to be. And you have this child actually following that natural routine. And so you are blessed. You are lucky. Don't say you're a good parent if you have an easy child.
I am blessed. I am lucky.
So when you have an easy child, if you are not careful, the parent will think, oh, because my child is very, I am a good parent. I have very nice parenting skills. That's why, no, it's just that your child is an easy child. That is what it is. And then we have the difficult child. That one, you cannot do anything about it. That is how the child has been programmed. And you have to ask God when you get to heaven why he gave you a difficult child. But we are not saying that the child is difficult so they can't be managed. You need to understand who a difficult child is. This difficult child does not follow your routine. They don't eat because you have brought the food and you are feeding them. They eat when they are hungry. They don't want to sleep because it is 12 o'clock and you have programmed that at 12 o'clock my baby should have a nap. So you are going to lay them that they will cry until they are ready to sleep. You want to have a proper routine for maybe toileting practices. This child is not going to go by your time. You have to actually adjust yourself for them. That is the difficult child. And 10% of all children will be difficult children. 40% of all children will be easy children, and 5 to 15% will be slow to warm up children. They are in between the two. So you either have an easy child, a difficult child, or a slow to warm up child. Now, these slow to warm up children, they withdraw, they take their time. They are not giving you a hard time. They are not struggling with you like the difficult child. But they want you to understand that I will do it when I am ready. So maybe all children are playing and this child is sitting somewhere. I will go into the traits very soon. This child is not mingling. You take that child to school the first day and they are clinging to your leg while other children are waving their mothers goodbye and they are smiling, running to meet their teacher. Your child is just clinging to you and doesn't want to leave you. If you're a parent and you know these types of things that we are discussing now, you know the type of child that you are handling, you will not be offended, you will not be frustrated. You understand that your child needs time to fit, to adapt into the new environment. And so you'll be okay. And instead of complaining or beating the child, you'll begin to be more reassuring, encouraging the child, and letting them know that you are there for them. It's okay. They can join their friends when they want to. And so it is very important as parents.
Mommy, thank you so much, because I think 99% of we parents, we all have set a standard. We want them to be like this. And so we don't follow what they actually are or how they were born, or to follow, like just you are saying, they were born with it, so they take their time in doing things. God forgive us. God give us grace that will do the right things, who will understand them, that they are little human beings who have a say in everything they want to do. Wow. Please continue for us, Mommy.
Thank you. So when you have an easy child, you have a difficult child, you have a slow to warm up child. If you have more children, you are likely to have all these in your house. You are likely to have, if you have 3 or 4 children, you may have 2 of them being difficult, one being an easy child, or you may have every one of these, temperaments in your home. That means you must be a very outgoing, alert, informed parent. Parenting is a job.
It's a job.
And that is why some husbands pay their wives for being full-time mothers. They put them on salary.
Oh, I'm going for a commercialista.
Exactly, you need one.
I need one.
Yes, it is a job. And every job has its job description. And so it is important that though the school system is helping to train your child, you understand that the word mother or mom is a role, it's a job description. And I cannot just step into a job without having knowledge of my job. That is where the challenge is. We think that once it comes naturally, I got pregnant, I slept with my husband, I became pregnant. Then raising the children will also follow suit. But with knowledge, it becomes easier. The scripture says, for the lack of knowledge, my people perish. So I was coming to the next point, which is goodness of faith. When we say goodness of faith, what it means is that God has given you these children. You, the parents, you may be a phlegmatic, and your child is a difficult child. Your child is that strong-willed child. And I think it's a good time for us to look at our video if we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, viewers, we have a video Mommy has prepared for us to learn something out of it, and it will be playing very soon when it's ready.
Okay. So I'm going on, when it's ready, you alert me and then we take it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. So if you are a phlegmatic parent and you have a difficult child, what it means is that, how am I, the parent, going to modify certain things, adjust certain behaviors in order to fit the personality of my child?
The video is ready also, so we can play it.
All right.
I just watched you touch Jude's food.
I don't put one on.
Yes, you did.
I put one on.
You touched Jude's food.
No,
Yes, you did touch the food.
No, I didn't touch the food.
Did you touch Jude's food?
No,
Yes.
I didn't touch the food.
You touched Jude's food. I just watched you do it. Yes, you did touch his food. You touched his food. Were you playing in Jude's food? You touched the food. You did touch the food. Lily, I just watched you touch Jude's food. Yes, you did. You touched Jude's food. Yes, you did touch the food. Did you touch Jude's food?
Young is playing.
Yeah, I can see.
You touched Jude's food. I just watched you do it. Yes, you did touch his food. You touched his food. Were you playing in Jude's food?
Okay. So when you want
You
it
touched
to
the
be
food.
stopped, then we stop it.
I want it to end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a long one? How many minutes?
It's done actually.
All right. Yeah, I always laugh when I watch this video. You know.
Yeah.
So, so we have looked at the melancholy, the choleric, the phlegmatic, the sanguine. Where will you put this baby? Maybe our viewers can send in some comments for us.
Okay, viewers, you all watch the video with us. So if you have some comments about what we just watched, you can send your comment to us on Facebook or on YouTube for it to be read out. Or please, you can continue.
Okay, so this little girl or this little woman, is she an easy child, a difficult child, or a slow to walk up child? You see, the mother is accusing her of doing something, and she's quick to react. Tell the mother that no, I didn't touch the food. I didn't touch the food. And at the point, the mother was even laughing because she could see that this child is being dramatic. And if you are not careful, you might think that, well, that's a bad behavior, but the child is actually expressing who she is. She has the strong personality. She reacts very fast. She's very sensitive, and you cannot just give her a word and go away. She will give it back to you. She has to stand her ground.
She's convinced of what the mother is asking and the answer she's giving her.
Okay. I will not be surprised if at the age of 5 onwards, this child's personality is defined as a choleric. Pure choleric. You can see the dominance in her. You cannot just push her aside. You can be my mom, you can be my dad, but I have to speak my mind. I have to express what I feel. On the other hand, a child whose mother is scolding her like this will just burst into crying. It doesn't make this girl smarter than that child. What it means is that this is her temperament, and she's expressing it how she is. And that other child is probably a slow to warm up child. That child is a shy type. And the moment mom raises her voice, they begin to cry. They cannot take it. They cannot just take that shout. And they feel that they have been threatened in a way, and they begin to cry. It doesn't make this child, this girl, better than that one. No. So if you are a parent and you are handling these two different children, we teachers somehow, because we have a large group of children under our care, we see all of these into play. One teacher will experience all of this in her class. And because you have that background knowledge on your mind of what a child can do, you are able to study them observe every child and know how to handle the child. I was talking about goodness of faith. So goodness of faith means that how do I, the mother, how do I, the father, adjust my schedule, adjust myself, modify my behavior to fit the personality or the temperament of my child. So to be able to do that, there are nine traits that every child's temperament runs across. These traits will help you to be able to understand your child. And from psychologists, they have researched and come up with these 9 basic traits, and they cut across. So we are going to take the 9 traits and how they affect the child and what the parent is supposed to do. So the first one is the activity level of your child. The activity is how active your baby is, how active your child is. As a baby, they are supposed to respond to some stimuli. They are supposed to give some feedback. If you give them a stimulus, maybe you clap your hand, is the child quickly able to look at you or respond and all of that? Are they able to move their limbs the way they should? And so if you have knowledge and your child is really not responding at the activity level, you can call for help or see medical assistance. But if you take it, oh, it's okay, that is how my child is, probably they may be lacking behind on certain things and it may not be really good. So the first one is activity level. So how quickly are they also to switch from one activity to another? So if you put them in a playground or you give them some things to play with, maybe there is a puzzle there and there is the storybook is there and there is a building blocks that they need to work with. A child whose activity level is really high can quickly switch from one activity to another. Or maybe they are eating and you want them to now go and have their bath. They don't have a problem. They can easily switch from one activity to another. The one who is low on activity level will have to be given time. They don't understand why they are building the blocks. You say they should stop and go and do the puzzle. Or they don't understand why they are playing and you say they should stop and go and have their dinner. So that is activity level for you. And then we have the rhythmicity. The rhythmicity is how regular is your child in terms of sleeping, waking, and feeding and toileting routine. How regular is your child? Do they follow your routine? Do they follow your schedule or not? So that is another area that the parents must watch out for. I'm just mentioning them, then I will bring in the parenting aspect. Okay. Then number 3, the 9 traits is what I am looking at now. The 9 traits of the temperament. 1 is activity level. 2 is rhythmicity, that is how regular they are on their daily routines, their natural routines. And distractibility. How are they easily distracted from something they are doing? There are some children when you are talking to them and you switch on the television, forget talking to them. They quickly switch from you to the TV. So that is distractibility. How, or maybe they just heard a bird, flapping in the window. They will just quickly run and go and look at it. They are easily distracted. And then we have the slow ones as well. If you are clapping, you want their attention, they will not even mind you. They are just focused on where they are. So these things must also be noted. Number 4, approach or withdrawal. Approach or withdrawal. How your baby responds to new experiences. Like I cited the one going to school for the first day. Some children who are very high on approach or who are very approachable, immediately you take them to the school, they wave you bye-bye and they join their friends and they are playing all over. You take them to a new environment and they quickly, adjust and make friends and they are moving on. But the one with the withdrawal will be given some time. They will need more time. And so the parents need to understand whether the child is approaching or withdrawing. And then adaptability, number 5, adaptability. How are they able to adapt to new situations? Maybe you moved house and that can have a whole lot of psychological effects on your child. They don't understand why they were living in that house and suddenly they have to move into a new house. But a child who is very high on adaptability will not have a problem. The one that is low will have to be given some time. And then attention span or persistence. When they are doing something and they are so focused on it, are they able to follow it through? Are they able to persist? They want to finish the puzzle by all means. There are some children like that. If they have not finished the puzzle, don't even bother yourself calling them. They are very persistent. And there are those who will quickly give up and begin to cry. They cannot take the challenge. It's so frustrating. Why is that I'm fixing this puzzle and it's not working? You see them bringing the puzzle with tears in their eyes to you. So that is also something you need to take note of. Number 7 is intensity of reaction. And this is where the video comes in as well, the video we just watched. How intense is the baby's response and their emotions? This girl is very, very high on intensity. The reaction is very fast. It doesn't even want that to have a say at all. She's reacting immediately. So this should tell you that this child is very high on the intensity of reaction. You can have a child who is very low in reacting. And then number 8 is sensitivity. How sensitive is your child? And here I will take my time and explain. A child can be sensitive to taste or flavors, certain types of food. The child is very sensitive to flavors. The child can be sensitive to textures. That's why when you put on her that particular dress, she's always crying. And you don't understand. Maybe the texture of the fabric is not making her comfortable. She's very sensitive. It could be cotton, it could be wool, it could be linen. We need to know all these things. Why is it anytime I put wool or linen on my child or silk on my child, she reacts like that? She gets uncomfortable. She'll be scratching herself. She's very high sensitivity to those, textures. And sometimes it is noise. Some children are very sensitive to noise. The slightest noise, your baby will not sleep. The slightest noise, they cannot.
Or most of the time, when they are used to a home where they know there is always silence. So when they find themselves in an environment where there is much noise, you see them withdrawing back or finding a place where they can stay quietly.
Yes. And even light. Some children, even some babies, if the parents are observant, when the light is on, your baby will never sleep. They are very sensitive to light. So you have to know their sensitivity level. Touch and even smell. Maybe you love the perfume as mommy's perfume. I love it. Your baby is very highly sensitive to that smell. And it can affect the child. But if you don't know, you begin to wonder what's wrong with my baby. But maybe the smell is affecting the child. Taste, like I said, with the flavors. So we need to be very, very, very observant of our children. Number 9 is the mood. Whether the baby is a happy baby, has a very positive disposition, all the time smiling. We have smiling babies. Whether they know you or not, just try to play with them and they are smiling. And some of them, you will do everything in their world. They will show no emotion. It doesn't make them bad babies. They have that gloomy, calm mood. And you must know how to deal with them and how to help them where help is needed. Where help is needed. So basically, when you have a child, you have a job. When you have a child, you have a job. And it is very important for parents to be able to understand that it is necessary. So when it comes to sensitivity, for example, if your child has, a very high sensitivity, you must make choices for them. that are comfortable to them. Oh, what would you like to eat? Come and taste this. Is it okay? Yes, mom, it's fine. Then you know that the child is good to go with that. Or if you have to buy them clothes, those who are sensitive to textures, it is okay to take your 2-year-old with you for shopping. When you use the cloth, let them try it on. Ask them if they are comfortable. There's nothing wrong with it. After if you go alone, you are going to buy. But what use would it be if you bring it home, you put it on the child and she's always crying, she's always reacting to it. So these are ways that parents can actually help the children to be able to fit in. That is the goodness of fit, so that they don't grow with this tension in them, this stress in them, this anger in them because mommy doesn't give me what makes me comfortable.
Sure.
She doesn't understand how I feel. This is the dress I must wear. But when I wear it, it itches me. I have itches all over my body. And the child, because they cannot express themselves, will be crying. And you're actually harming the child psychologically and emotionally.
Mommy, what you are saying is making me think so much about how, especially, we have been raised from back in Africa. These things were not considered. I think it is even still practiced. Like, we don't want to hear from our children what they want to do, but we want to instruct them, choose everything for them. Like, for instance, the video we were watching, I would say, okay, so the way the children is acting and speaking so loud, so confidently, can a mother then teach her and tame her not to speak shouting, like to talk normal than to shout before she can be heard? Is it possible for us to do that?
I love that girl. You know why? Because telling her to shut up is not really going to help her in this particular situation. Mommy is accusing me of something I know I have not done. And you are a very confident child who is telling you, no, mom, I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
This child is confident. She knows her right. She knows that she cannot accept something she has not done. And you see, because I think the mother understands the child. And she's been doing it maybe over time. That's why she decided to film her for that particular. And the mother ended up laughing. So this child can be a very good lawyer one day.
Of course. One thing I realize about her is that even though the mother changes the sentence, she still understands what the mother is saying and gives the same answer. I said I didn't eat the food, which means she is very, very confident in, like, as a personality.
Yeah. So if for instance it's something different that the mother is talking about, maybe they are having a normal mom-baby talk and the child is shouting, then of course the mother can tell her, bring down your voice, we are not arguing. You have to talk to me in a very low voice. And always say that you must always model what you want the child to do. Saying it is not really going to work. Model it. So when the child begins to raise their voice, come on, calm down. I just want to know, did you touch the food? Have you realized that the mother wasn't doing what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
So once the mother's voice was up, she also has to keep hers up.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you have a very high active child, what you, the mother, have to help the child to do is that you need to give them more movement opportunities. Your child is that child who doesn't want to sit in one place, but you are always reading stories to them. When maybe they want to swim, they want to run around, they want to play football, you must give them that opportunity, because what you are trying to do is that you are trying to allow them to become, bottle them up, to become who they are not, and that can be frustrating, and that is psychologically dangerous for the growth of the child. But as you try to bottle them in, as you try to, control their emotions, their expressions, there is an anger building up in them, there is resentment building up in them, and they may turn out differently. And so if your child is very active, it's okay. Give the opportunity to play around the house if possible. Take them out into the park. Once you take your children into the park, you know some of them will be running. Another one will just go and sit quietly on the bench and be receiving fresh air. We as teachers, we see a variety of them. You take the children into the playroom or the playground, and some of them are quickly running around, some of them are throwing balls here and there, and you are there and somebody will just go and bring a storybook and say, yes. This one is a very low activity child, and they don't want to move around. So you read the story with her, and she's fine. You don't neglect them. So it's really, really important.
And you don't also think that there is something wrong with them. That is why they are not doing what everybody is doing. Wow.
That's what the parents must understand. That
Mommy, please,
child is very...
let me take some comments from Facebook. Yes. Even though I've missed a lot here, I see our elder Ofosuban saying sensitive to colorful images. Of course, he is referring to how sensitive children are. Mr. Osikene also is saying harming a child psychologically and emotionally. God help parents. Of course, we need God's help. It is so much of a work. So model what you want your child to do. Most of us are very much guilty of this. God should help us. We have sorry, I have lost lots of comments. I have let me see here. Elsie is saying good job. I have Judith also saying wow, knowledge. She's also saying difficult child. Yes. Elsie says Judith says she thinks she is sanguine. I think I am sanguine. Esther Oben is saying, all doing mommy, too much wisdom. God richly bless you for me. That is to our mommy, Lady Mamlek Dazi. Somebody is writing to you. Say, God richly bless you. Mommy, please, you can go on for us. I think I've missed lots of the comments. You can go on for us, mommy. Sorry.
Thank you. So if your child is very low on activity level, that is when the Ludos and the puzzles and the storybooks, the snakes and ladders, games that doesn't allow the child to move around. You have to give them opportunity to also enjoy, such games. And so you don't say your brothers are out there playing football, who enjoying them. Don't do that. Those ones are high activity children. Allow them to be running around and playing their football. This one that doesn't want to play football, if there is a puzzle in the house, give it to him. And parents must also invest in our children. We, especially from our part of the world, we don't invest in children. But I think that living in this environment should give us opportunity to learn. The people in whose land we are living, they invest in their children. A whole room is full of toys and everything the child needs before they are born. So you can imagine. You can imagine, but we don't do it. And it isn't everything that God has given us the wisdom. That is the blessing. Let's activate it by implementing things that will help make their lives easier. If your child is happy and your child is growing the way they should grow, and you are praying, oh, I bet you they will fulfill destiny. They will fulfill destiny. But the child is already struggling in the house. Mommy doesn't want me to do this. Daddy doesn't want me to do this. And that is why when they get to the teens, let me quickly chip in this. They get to the teens or they get to the legal age of maturity, they will leave the house.
They tend to rebel.
They have been waiting to leave all these years. Because growing up, they didn't enjoy their childhood. The kind of parenting they receive have bottled them in. It's like a sort of prison for the child. So all they are praying for is, when will I be 18? When will I be 18? When will I be 16? Immediately they hit the age of maturity. If you are not careful, you will lose the child. They will leave the house.
Wow.
They now begin to redefine who they are. And at that point, peer pressure will come in and the devil will set in. So why don't we make growing up easy, more enjoyable for our children? Sometimes I think as parents, we look at our frustrations, the things we need to do, the burdens on our heads, and I have too much. Why must I bother over this little girl, this little boy, this little creature?
Why must she control my life?
Exactly. And if you do that, you become somewhat selfish to the neglect of the goodness of faith is not working here. And anytime goodness of faith is not working, stress is curated in the environment. Tension between the child and the parents. I was in hospital some few weeks back, and the room I was lying, there was this woman. The daughter was there to take care of the mother. It's about a teenage girl. And she told me she hates her mother. And I was alarmed. The reason I became alarmed was she was waiting for them to bring this woman from the theater. So in this condition, with this hatred in this child, if God does not intervene, she would take it as a good opportunity to pay her back. Not going to take proper care of the mother. And I immediately picked it up and I began to talk to this girl, trying to get her to calm down, to understand certain things and all of that. So parents, let's be careful.
Wow.
She hates her mom. The mom doesn't treat her well.
So, mommy, at what age, what is the most critical age in a child's development? Like, what is that age you can say?
Yes, so 0 to 5, the child is trying to find themselves. By 5, their personality is really defined. So if you have been working on the child with all these things that we are discussing, by 5 years, she's able to fully develop into a choleric, a sanguine, a phlegmatic, or a melancholy. And because you now understand your child's temperament, you know how to deal with them. Now, by the age of 12, so between that 5 to 12, by the age of 12 is very critical. If your child will turn out really bad, by 12, if he has a bad influence, it's going to be very strong. By 12, if he has a good influence, it's going to be very strong. That is the threshold where they are now delving into the sense of autonomy, the sense of independence. Oh, I am still a child. I am old enough. I am big enough. The girl is developing breasts. Sometimes, even at the age of 12, she started menstruating. And so she wants to do her makeup. Mommy is saying no. But I feel I'm big enough. Mommy, even maybe my hips are bigger than your own. So at the age of 12, if you have not really established a very good relationship with your child, and to continue to help them to understand who they are, identity crisis will set in at that time. And that is when they begin to fall on friends, they begin to fall on outside influence, and they may end up very bad. So by 12, it's a very critical age. From 12 onwards, they are now going to develop into the adolescent years. And so every foundation must have been laid by 12.
Wow.
Remember, Jesus started his ministry at 12. Holy Spirit just dropped that into my spirit. By 12, he has started his ministry, meaning that by 12, your child must understand who they are and where they are headed. Yes. And the parents must be the guide for them.
Then how then do you spot the difference between an intentional behavior or an intentional behavior and like a negative one? Intentional and unintentional, for us to know that this one is something that you are intentionally doing it, and so it is not what you were born with, or this is how you are. How then do we differentiate between the two?
Okay, so temperament of the child Now that you know whether your child is that very introversion or very extroversion, the child is an introvert or extrovert, you should understand that by nature, my child is a quiet person. That does not mean that they will never shout, they will never fight. If somebody provokes them to their limits, they can fight. And when they are fighting, they are not fighting because they have an aggressive nature. They are fighting because they were provoked and they had to react. So that is not who they are. But that incident of fighting, so you will be there, bring the report, and then they say, me, what could you? What's what happened to our school? So you can say, if you're not careful, you may doubt. But you call your child and you ask him, so what exactly happened? Why did you or what people have to fight? You don't even talk. How come? Then they begin to explain, I didn't intentionally do it. This and that is what happened. Anything that is part of the person is consistent. That is why our elders say, Subain to say, listen. To me, fancy. It's not high character. So there has to be a consistent behavior that will tell you this is who you are, this is who they are. Anything they do contrary to their consistency becomes an unintentional thing. But you will not find them doing that every day.
Wow.
You will not find them doing that every day. And then another answer to your question is that we can unlearn certain things, learn new things. So I grew up with aggressive parents, but I don't want to be aggressive. So how do I now learn to be a calm person? How do I now learn not to be an aggressive person? All right, so when my mother talks, my father responds, my mother responds, and then they begin to fight, the slaps begin to flow. I am not really comfortable with this kind of attitude. I don't want to turn out as my parents. And that is why the church must also come in, the school must also come in. I have a very good teacher at school. The teacher who is really upset, I have done this several times in my experience as a teacher. I study my pupils, I look at your face and I know there's something wrong. Or even what they write to you. Let me give a scenario here. I was teaching English and I had to ask the children to write an essay of what goes on in their house or what they do every day or something like that.
The magic topic, that one. You will hear lots of...
The child brought his. I read to a point and I had to stop everything and call the child because I realized there was a problem between her and the mother. And the child actually stated that she hated her mother because of the way she treats her. She shouts at her, she insults her, she makes her do so much before she comes to school. And sometimes she comes to school very tired and it's affecting her studies. And I literally was crying reading that. Immediately I had to go to that child's parents during break time. I had to follow up and go to the child's father. And the father was so grateful. He said, thank you so much for coming to me. Even me, I'm in hot waters. The father himself is not finding it easy. But going there gave me an opportunity to understand what was going on. The man, being a learned man, told me that the wife is in menopause. And at the menopausal stage, anything can happen. But because he is educated and he understands, he tries to explain things to the children because the woman had been emotionally affected by the transition of menopause. And psychologically, it was telling on her, and she was dishing it out to the children. So I had to bring this girl back and sit her down and begin to recite her. Tell her how amazing the mom is and all of that, and explain menopause to her.
Wow.
To calm her down. So as a teacher, you do a lot. I tell people that I am a teacher by profession, but it is my ministry. So when I'm teaching a child, I'm not just interested in 10 over 10, 100 over 100, but I want to impact the life of the child. And I think that if this child has a good teacher in school, they can talk to them. He has a good youth leader in church, the church can step in and begin to give them some assurance so they do not turn up as aggressive as their parents are.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, we are learning a lot here. I believe you are also being blessed by our mommy's ministry. You heard her. She is a teacher by profession, but children teaching is also her ministry. She can teach you systematically for you to understand to the core what you need to do, or for you to understand the subject she's talking about. We have heard so much all too soon. Our time is really up, and mommy has a lot to tell us. He has a lot to teach us. I believe we'll make time with her another time for her to continue for us. But in the meantime, on Facebook we have our elder Ofosuban. She said one basic African parent lack in parenting is in their children is they hardly take keen attention to observe and understand these children's temperament. They think parenting is to buy them food and clothes. Of course, Daddy, most of us, that is how we began. But we know that with such teachings and learning a bit here, a bit there, we know we can do better. I believe that is going to be your prayer out there, you parents also watching. That is why you need to share this video with somebody, that what we are learning here, it can be of a blessing to somebody else. Remember, it's a society, it's a community. It will, if it affects my child, it will affect your child. If it goes well for my child, he or she will be in the company with your child, which is going to be of a positive thing to her, to him or her too. That is why it's a collective thing. We are all doing this together. Nobody is to be left out. I believe that you have been blessed by what mommy has said. We'll hear from her last words, so that we'll make time with her again to be of a blessing to us the next time. Mommy, Lady Mom, Lady Daddy, please, can you give us your final words or your concluding words for us this afternoon?
Thank you so much. So we are looking at the child's temperament and parenting. And I believe that somebody out there might have heard one or two today that they are ready to take hold. My plea to you, parents, is that whatever good thing that you are told, try and experiment it and see if it works. Because if we give the knowledge and we don't apply them, somebody says, the one who does not read is as bad as the one who cannot read. If you have the knowledge and you don't apply it, you are as bad as the one who has no knowledge at all. So it is my prayer that whatever we are studying, we will be able to apply it, we will be able to practice them in the raising of our children. But remember, God is the maker of us all. Who your child turns out to be, generally, practically, does not depend on who you are. So don't allow your temperament to define your child's temperament. Accept your child as a unique individual who has their own unique, innate abilities given them by God. Allow them to express themselves as they are and be there to provide guidance for them so they grow to become responsible people, fitting the society and bringing glory and honor to God and to you, the parents. It's been a blessing coming your way, and I believe that we have all been blessed. God bless you.
God bless you so much, Mommy. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation to come and bless us with your ministry. You have been tremendously of a blessing unto us. So from the Inside Studios and the Virtuous Woman, we say God richly bless you, Mommy. Our wonderful family out there, we believe you have also learned so much. I have here on YouTube lots of love going out for Mommy. Our mommy Patience Amate is saying, God bless you, sweet mommy. Very powerful. We have Mr. Sikini saying, child temperament. It's a law to warm up children. Parenting is a job. Of course, parenting is a job. An activity level of your child. Yes, those are the traits, the 9 traits mommy mentioned to us that we should know as parents in order to know how we will deal with our children, how we will parent them. And we have our mommy Ernestina saying, model what you want your child to do. Children learn by watching. I love this. Let me repeat that again. Mommy said in her teaching, model what you want your child to do. Children learn by watching. And Estina is saying she loves what mommy said. We have our mommy Auntie Olivia. She says, oh, I have missed the show. Just got home. Mommy, don't worry. You can still go and watch again and again. We have our lady Portia Eje saying, very true. So much restrictions, encourages them to rebel. Of course, we are so much guilty. If you have to restrict them, take time to explain your reasons. Of course, if you tell them the reasons why they should not do what you are asking them to do, they understand better. A little as they are smart and reasonable. Our daddy Edatano looks like we have missed a great deal. Daddy, you have not missed at all. You can still go and watch back. We have our brother Waham Mumuni says, very educative program. Keep the good work up, sisters. Thank you also, brother. And our sister Ernestina is saying, God richly bless you, mommy. Mommy, the love is for you. People they really appreciate your ministry and what you are doing to impact your generation. We are so much grateful. And so, viewers, all too soon, as I said, our time is up. We want you to make a date with us the next time, because this parenting, it is going, as we said, it is serious, and we are not ending here. It is part of our lives, and so we will not stop. We will learn and learn and learn until His grace, Thy rule, His word, His glory will be seen in our lives. This is what we have for you. We say God richly bless you and see you in the next episode. Bye for now.